clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and on today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to hear a live session where I was working with a lady who had unfortunately experienced quite negative traumas in her life, and those traumas were really getting in the way of her living her best life now. Quite often she would use phrases such as, "I've missed the boat," and "I've left it too late." And really she was living in the past. She was allowing these past traumas to define what she was capable of doing. So in this episode, it's all about resolving a past trauma. Now, her past trauma will certainly be very different from your past traumas. And trauma is a subjective thing. You know, I've worked with people that have been raped and physically assaulted, but equally I've worked with people that just felt that they were bullied or belittled or offended in some way, and that's become a traumatic event. You know, it could just be a few words that can be traumatic. And there is no right or wrong when it comes to trauma. If something has emotionally and negatively impacted someone to the point where it gets in the way of them living their life, then that's a trauma. Obviously, intense, very extreme traumas can create something known as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. And one of the symptoms of PTSD is that you go back and you re-experience that. Now, this session does not claim to deal with PTSD, but one of the things that can happen is that when a lot of people think back to that traumatic moment, they actually relive it as if it's happening to them. And they don't have to be having a kind of a PTSD moment for that to happen. But just if you ask them about it, they start tearing up, they start shaking sometimes because they're re-experiencing the traumatic thing. Now, in my opinion, trauma is bad enough if it happens once. But for some people that have very negative traumas, they can experience them several times a day because they go back and they relive them, they rethink about them as if it's happening to them. So in this session, we actually use a combination of disassociation and a few different techniques to actually drain the emotion away from the trauma, give a bit of perspective. So this entire session is just going to be helpful to anyone that has a trauma that they haven't really dealt with or resolved, and ideally getting you to the point of resolution. It might not happen in the first listening of this. You might need to listen a few times, but if you reach that point of actually resolving the trauma, you'll know because you can think back to that specific memory and you'll know it happened, but suddenly the emotion isn't there anymore, which is it's liberating, it's life-changing when you reach that point. And this hypnosis session can certainly help you to get there. So there'll be a couple of minutes of relaxing music before the hypnosis starts. So just focus on your breathing, focus on finding somewhere relaxing in a place where you won't be disturbed, and just open your mind and follow the suggestions. Enjoy. And as you make yourself comfortable, I want you to take a deep breath in. I want you to imagine that you're breathing in a sense of relaxation. Breathing in relaxation and breathing out tension. As you breathe in, I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that you're breathing in pure white light. Breathing in a sense of that pure white light with each and every inward breath. As you breathe in that pure white light, I want you to use your imagination to imagine that that pure white light is filling your lungs, and that your heart is then, in the same way that it takes oxygen from your lungs and pumps it around to every cell of your body, I want you to imagine that your heart is pumping around that pure white light around to every cell of your body. The pure white light simply represents the purest form of relaxation. And as you breathe in that feeling of relaxation, the pure white light displaces any tension, any anxiety, any stress around your body, so that in your outward breath you exhale and the tension, stress or anxiety leaves your body. Breathing in relaxation and breathing out tension. With each and every breath, you start to feel more and more comfortably relaxed. In the same way that you can use your imagination to imagine that you're breathing in pure white light, I want you to use that same part of your imagination to imagine that as you breathe out, you're breathing out any unnecessary tension, stress, or anxiety, and that as you breathe out, you're breathing out a dark color. Breathing in pure white light and breathing out any darkness that is represented by tension, stress, or anxiety anywhere in your body. Occasionally while I'm talking, your conscious mind will pick up on sounds around you, or even your conscious mind will start thinking and drifting. In a strange and contradictory way, the more that your conscious mind is distracted, the better able I am to influence your unconscious mind. Each and every day, you take thousands of breaths. You blink thousands of times. And yet how many times do you do that consciously? Most of what you do is completely automatic, on autopilot. And just imagine that sometimes you tense your muscles. Sometimes you have thoughts that create tension or stress or anxiety. And you do that unconsciously, without conscious thought. But now we're going to use those same thoughts, feelings, and processes to help you feel more comfortable, more relaxed, and more resourceful. Because the pure white light doesn't just represent relaxation. It represents everything that is resourceful, everything that can enable you to cope and handle whatever is going on in your life. I want you to imagine that you're in a relaxing place. Perhaps this place is a beach, somewhere outdoors, somewhere that represents safety, security, and relaxation for you. I want you to imagine perhaps that you're lying down under the sunshine, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. And I want you to imagine that as you breathe in that pure white light, filling your lungs with relaxation and exhaling any tension, stress, or anxiety, that the sun is also helping you relax. I want you to focus on the tiny muscles around your eyelids and your eyes. Because sometimes when people are feeling stressed, tense, or anxious, they have tension around the eyelids, eyebrows, and around the eyes. And I want you to imagine as you feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, that any muscles around your eyelids and eyes are just starting to relax now. As you breathe in that pure white light, imagine the color of that pure white light seeking out the cells around your eyes, displacing any tension, any anxiety. And as you breathe out, imagine that you're breathing out and that tension, stress, or anxiety is leaving your body now. Now focus on the muscles in your forehead. Really pay attention to any feeling of tension right there in the muscles in your forehead, the same muscles that would be responsible for facial expressions like surprise or concern. Allow those muscles to relax now. And now focus on the muscles around your jaw, all the muscles right there, from the bottom of your ear all the way right down to your chin. Imagine all the muscles that connect your jaw to the rest of your skull start to relax, start to loosen, so it's easier. Some people are so tense that they even grind their teeth while they sleep. I want you to imagine that you're doing the opposite and relaxing those muscles so much that your jaw just seems to hang there loose. Even the tongue inside your mouth starts to relax. You're finding it easier to breathe deeper than you would normally breathe. In fact, as you take a breath in, imagine that pure white light is filling your lungs with a sense of relaxation. That relaxation enables even your internal organs to relax. I want you to imagine that your stomach is relaxing now. Imagine that your lungs are relaxing now. I want you to imagine as you breathe in that pure white light that your heart is relaxing now. As you breathe in, filling your lungs with that pure white light, I want you to imagine that your diaphragm, the same muscle responsible for hiccups, starts to relax now, enabling you to take deeper and deeper breaths with each and every breath. Many people feel anxiety in their gut, the lower intestines, that bit below your lungs. And I want you to imagine that that pure white light is going down past your lungs, past your diaphragm, right there sitting in your intestines, in your gut. Occasionally you may have even said or thought that you've had a feeling in your gut. Sometimes if people feel anxious or a little bit nervous, they say they feel butterflies in their stomach. And all it is unconscious, involuntary movements right there in the gut. But as this pure white light passes from your lungs, down your diaphragm, into your gut starts to relax. Those hundreds of tiny muscles that enable food to pass through your digestive system start to relax. You are letting go of any anxiety, any stress, any tension from the inside. As you breathe out, you're breathing out a feeling of darkness. Anything that has been holding you back, making you stressed, anxious, tense, that is leaving your body, and what is being breathed in is a feeling of relaxation, positivity, and resourcefulness. And now I want you to focus on your neck and your shoulders. Just allow any tension in your neck and your shoulders to simply relax. Letting go, imagining that any tension in your neck and shoulders is almost like crystals of ice. And as you breathe in this pure white light, it starts to melt away any unnecessary tension, taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. So relaxed, in fact, that it all feels like it's melting away. That feeling of relaxation now passes down your arms, all the way down to the very tips of your fingers, filling your body, filling all of your cells with this pure white light. This relaxation now, filling your lungs, filling your diaphragm, filling your gut with pure white light. Every cell is now relaxed, and becoming more and more relaxed with each and every breath. And that relaxation now passes down into your legs, all the way down your legs into your calf muscles, all the way down into your feet. And I want you to feel that you're so relaxed now. So relaxed that as you're there, perhaps lying on a beach with the warmth of the sun on your skin, that you're about to drift off to sleep. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and you're going to imagine that you're so relaxed, so peaceful, so resourceful, that you just fall asleep there on the beach. And after you fall asleep, you will imagine that you're now in a dream on the same beach, starting to count 5, just drifting off, nodding off, feeling so sleepy, eyelids heavy, feeling like you want to yawn, and 4, feeling so relaxed now, deep, casual, effortless breaths as you go drowsy, more and more sleepy. That's right. 3, really feeling like you're about to nod off. 2, 1, and just feeling that you're falling asleep. And imagine that you have fallen asleep. And I want you to imagine that you've fallen asleep to the extent that you're now in a dream. And you're in a dream on the same beach, and you're now seeing yourself lying there, looking so relaxed. And what you're seeing fast asleep represents the conscious mind. And now I'm communicating to a part that represents the critical and analytical part of your mind. I'm communicating to the part that represents logic. And I want you to find a place on the beach where you've got the perfect view of both the sky and the sea. It's a sunny day. You're on a private beach. There's no one there at all. You're feeling so relaxed, so comfortably relaxed. And as you take footsteps towards that perfect view, you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. You can feel the sand beneath your feet. You can perhaps hear the gentle breaking of the waves and feel the cool breeze on your skin. You feel so relaxed. And as you look out to the sea, look out to the sky. It's a sunny day, blue skies, and all you can see is a few fluffy white clouds. And those fluffy white clouds simply represent distractions, things that might pop into your mind at any point in time. And as you see those fluffy white clouds, we're going to start to notice something, and those fluffy white clouds are going to start changing into a word spelt out up in the sky, and that word is going to be relax, R-E-L-A-X, relax. And as the logical part of you reads that word relax, we are relaxing the logical, analytical part of your mind. Is getting deeper relaxed, and that word relax is now going to shift, change, transform into a number, and that number is 998. 998 is exactly the number that you can see made of fluffy white clouds up there filling the sky. Now the logical, analytical part of your mind is really confused, perplexed, intrigued as to how it can be that fluffy white clouds are making a huge number right there in the sky. And as you look at that number, 998, something strange starts to happen. The final number descends by 1. The big number in the sky is now 997. It stays there for a few moments and then again descends by 1 to 996. The logical, analytical part of your mind is mesmerized, completely transfixed, completely and totally obsessed as to how it can be that clouds are counting down like a giant countdown timer right there in the sky. And I want you to allow the logical, analytical part to meet their need by continuing to count down the clouds, trying to figure out why the clouds are counting down. But there is an alternative part of you, a part that wants a change, a part that wants the future to be different, with less anxiety, less stress, less compulsive thoughts. And I want that part that wants change to keep walking down the beach, looking back and seeing that the logical and analytical part is still there, looking up at the clouds, counting down. And in fact, you can also see the conscious mind fast asleep on the beach. I'm now communicating to the part that wants a change. As you walk down the beach, again, you can feel the sand beneath your feet. You can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. You can feel a gentle breeze, and you can hear the gentle breaking of the waves on the shore. Something feels peaceful and relaxed. Now up ahead, you're going to see a doorway. And this doorway is going to lead to your own private cinema. But this cinema has a different layout to most cinemas. A traditional cinema might have one screen in each room. But this cinema will only have one room, and that room will have 3 screens. But right now, just know that the door leads to a cinema with 3 screens, and all you need to do is to walk towards that door. And what's interesting is that the door that you walk to doesn't even need to be attached to a building. The door is simply a metaphor for a portal that will take you to a deeper level of your unconscious mind. And I don't know what kind of door it is, whether it's a traditional door, futuristic door. All I know is that this door leads to a cinema, an empty cinema, a private cinema just for you. As you walk up to the door, I want you to notice that you have a key in one of your pockets or hands, and this key will open that door. As you stand in front of the door, I will shortly count down from 5 to 1, and you will put the key in the door, rotate the key until the door unlocks. You will then open the door, walk through the door, and then be in the entrance for your cinema. So let's do that now. 5, putting the key inside the lock. 4, rotating the key. 3, hearing the click to signify that the door is now unlocked. 2, pulling the door open, and 1, walking through the door, closing the door behind you. You are now walking into your own private cinema. There is no one else there at all. And in fact, you walk into the cinema, and I want you to find the most comfortable seat that you can find. The most comfortable seat possible. And from this particular seat, notice how comfortable, notice how relaxed you feel in that particular seat. And notice that you can see 3 screens. There is a screen on the left, and that screen will represent your past. There is a screen in the middle that represents the near present or very recent past. And there is a screen on the right that represents your future. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to notice that the screen on the left that represents your past is showing you, perhaps 2 or 3 years ago, but a time where you were happy, a time where you were content, a time before you met anyone significant in your life, and you completely enjoyed being single. This was a time where you not only were single, but you were enjoying being single. And I want you to see that version of you in the screen on the left. There are only 2 crucial ingredients: that it is you in that movie, and that you are enjoying being single. And then I want you to look at the screen on the right. The screen on the right is you in the future being happy. Whatever that means for you, that will be the future version. Because I don't know if you will see yourself in the future, in a relationship, in a marriage, perhaps far off in the future with a family, or perhaps in the near future, and the near future may be you being single and happy being single. All I know is that screen on the right is you being happy, with no tension, no stress, just a feeling of contentment and gratitude for who you are in that future. And now the screen in the middle is blank. Because in order to experience the near present, we need a different perspective. So I want you to imagine that you're floating up out of your chair, all the way up to the projection booth. And from that projection booth, I want you to notice that there is bulletproof glass that the projector is beaming through to all three screens. The screen on the left shows you, in the past, happy being single. The screen on the right shows you in the future, being happy, either in a relationship or being single. But you are happy in both the past and the futures that you see on these screens. But the screen in the middle is different. The screen in the middle is blank right now. And what I want you to do is I want you to project a movie of you proposing to your girlfriend. I want you to play that movie from before you could even see her. You're going to see yourself on that screen as an actor. And on that screen, you're going to see yourself before she was in your presence. And it may be that you had an idea of what you were going to say. And it may be that you had something you were going to give her. But right now, you're seeing yourself before she was around. Then I want you to play it forward. I want you to see from the safety of being up in that projection book, seeing yourself on a screen like you're watching a movie through bulletproof glass, knowing that this is simply a movie of a recent memory, but you're seeing yourself as if you were someone else. And you're seeing yourself actually do whatever happened at the point where the proposal took place. I want you to see whatever she said and experience from a different perspective that you're seeing yourself, see what you said in response. I want you to play the whole thing forward until the movie ends about half an hour after your proposal didn't go to plan and she wasn't around anymore. At the end of the movie, you will be after the proposal didn't go the way that you wanted it to. Because in order to feel the way you feel, you have to really perceive the proposal to have a constant effect and impact on your future. And that simply isn't the case. So now we're going to see this from a different perspective. I want you to imagine that actually you're going to watch everything happening backwards. I want you to see yourself at the end of the movie, and I want you to imagine that because you're in the projection booth, you can see everything happening backwards. I want you to rewind everything. The movie starts at the end when she's no longer around, and you're rewinding everything so it all happens backwards. See yourself moving backwards, talking backwards, walking backwards, and the movie ends after everything has happened in reverse, so before she was even around. And then I want you to jump back to the end and do it again. Everything's happening backwards. Wherever you were after, imagine driving backwards, walking backwards, thinking backwards, moving backwards, talking backwards. The whole proposal happens backwards. And then it's going to end before it even started. Okay. I want you to do it one more time. Jump back to the end of the movie and make everything happen backwards. And you're seeing it like you're seeing a movie with you in the movie. Everything's happening backwards. You're hearing things happening backwards, seeing things happening backwards, and it's all happening backwards now. Just like this sound, everything's happening backwards. And once you're sure that you know what happens backwards from the perspective of you watching yourself as if you're someone else, I want you to go right to the end of the movie. And then, when you're confident that this is after everything happened, I want you to go from the projection booth and imagine floating into the movie. You're floating into the movie, so you are now inside your own body, but she is no longer anywhere around. And we're going to rewind everything, but this time you're going to rewind everything from your own eyes. I'm going to make a sound to represent rewinding, and that sound is and you're going to go inside your own body at the end after the proposal took place, and we're going to rewind everything so that it ends before it even began. Because these neural pathways that happen forward can also happen backwards. So you're now in your own body after the proposal took place, and we're going to rewind everything to before it even took place, starting now. Rewinding. And then when you get to the end, which is actually the beginning, then jump back to the end, and we're going to rewind it again through your own eyes. See everything happening backwards super fast, and hear yourself talking backwards, thinking backwards. Everything's happening backwards right at the end. That's it, super fast. Jump back to the end, rewind, jump back to the end, and rewind again. And I want you to jump back to the end, and this time we're going to rewind so far that you're going to imagine that you're back in the version of you that's in the screen of the left. I want you to imagine that everything happens so fast and so far backwards that you are now in the body of you being happy being single. And you remember what that feels like. Jump back to the end of the screen in the middle, and you're so far back in the past now that you're back inside the version of you on the left-hand screen. You're back in your own body, feeling how good it feels to be single. You like who you are. You like the freedom that comes with being single. You like that you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. Feel how good it feels to be single in that moment. Then jump back to the end of the scene in the middle screen, and we're going to rewind again, going all the way back. Just imagine everything happening backwards in a complete blur. Jump back until you're inside the body of you on the left-hand screen, feeling great, feeling happy being single. That's right, jump back to the end of the middle screen, and that's it. You are now in the body of you in the past, and check you're in your same body. Look at the clothes you're wearing, look at your hands, look at yourself in a mirror if there's a mirror nearby, and feel how good it feels to enjoy being single. That's right. And now what we're going to do is enter the future. And I want you to imagine that whatever needs to change will change. Whatever neural pathways need to be rewired and re-updated will simply happen. And I want you to imagine that you're now going to go into that future memory. The memory of you in a few years' time where you are happy, and you're either happy being single or you're happy in a relationship, but you are happy because of the lessons you learned from what happened in that proposal. And I want you to go and into that third screen now, the screen on the right. Climb inside that version of you. Feel how good it feels to be happy in the future. And if you're in a relationship, you will know that you're in a relationship, but you won't be able to see who you're in a relationship with. You will just know that you're in a relationship. If you have a family, you will know that you have a family, but you won't know exactly what your family looks like. You'll just get an overall sense that you are happy in the future. And I want you to think back, because it may be months ago, years ago, or even decades ago, but I want you to think back to the key vital lessons that you learned directly as a result of the experience that at the time was traumatic, but now with the benefit of hindsight was completely essential, and it actually served you. I want you to imagine that the trauma that you experienced was actually a treasure. It was a gift, and it was a necessary gift that enabled you to have this happy future. As you look back and think about the past, I want you to think of at least 3 vital lessons that you learned, that you needed to experience that trauma at that time in order to learn those lessons. Most of the lessons that we're taught, we forget, but what we experience affects us emotionally. The most precious lessons, the real gifts, are those that we experience that cause us pain, because the pain helps us to learn quicker. And as you think back, I don't know if perhaps the lesson that you've learned is that the longer you get to know someone, the more likely it is for you to be able to make a decision as to whether or not that person is right for you. As you think back, perhaps that's a lesson that you could learn. Perhaps a lesson that you could learn is the lesson of fishing. That sometimes, if you catch a fish and you try and reel it in too quick, well then the fish breaks from the line and simply swims away. But even if that happens, you know that there are plenty more fish in the lake or the sea. As you think back to the trauma, that painful memory of your past, I want you to realize that a gift was happening. That as one door was closing, a new door was open, and the new door wouldn't have opened had you not learned the lessons from what you experienced back then. And just decide what lessons you've learned and feel gratitude vibrating across your whole body, that you are appreciative of the lessons that you learned directly as a consequence of the trauma that you experienced all those years or months ago. And once you've decided that those lessons were absolutely essential for you having that happy future, then it's important that we now perceive everything differently. I want you to imagine that you're embracing the fact that your past, there was a time in your past where you were happy being single, and there is a time in your future where you are happy in your life. But the happiness in your future required lessons to be learned from that painful past. And when you accept that, I want you to now drift back into the projection booth so you can see all 3 screens. You're now seeing the past. You're seeing the past as you being happy, being single. And the screen on the right still shows you happy in your future, whether you are single or in a relationship. But you're happy because of the lessons that you learned from the painful experience of your past. And now the screen in the middle is going to show a different thing. Rather than you seeing the proposal, I want you to see that actually everything is happening in black and white, in small, and it's happening as if you're seeing yourself from very far away, like you're watching yourself in a movie. And when it's playing forward, I want you to see that you can now see that proposal happening, but it's happening in a way where there is now no emotion. You know that it happened, but you simply feel indifferent. You feel indifferent because you've extracted the important lessons from that experience. It happened for you rather than to you. And because of that, you are now grateful for that experience. You are grateful for the experience because it will enable you to have the future that you were meant to have directly as a result of the key lessons that you learned from that experience. You really and genuinely now believe that it was necessary for your life that what happened in order for you to turn a new page, create a new chapter in your life, a chapter that enables new experiences, new opportunities, new adventures that would not have happened had it not been from the experience that you experienced. Only now, you can now think of that experience in a completely objective, indifferent way. I want you to see yourself doing the same proposal that you were doing, but this time, there is simply no meaning attached to it. There is no feeling, no emotion attached to it. There is no idea that this would have led to different things, because you now accept that this is what happened, and it was done for you rather than to you. It was simply what was necessary to happen in your life in order for you to learn the required lessons to give you the future that you are now heading for. You've experienced the past and know that there was a time in your past where you were happy being single. And you've experienced the future, and you now have a sense of certainty that you will have a happy future, and that this particular person was never a necessity for that happy future. You can now remember what happened, but you see it as if you're seeing yourself in the movie rather than through your own eyes. And you now accept that there is no emotion attached there. You can be completely objective, distant, and neutral about how you feel when you think about that proposal. If anything, you would feel grateful, not for the trauma itself, but for the lessons that you learned, for the treasure that you found within that trauma. All movie screens are now showing you either happy or indifferent. You're happy in the past being single, you're happy in the future either single or in a relationship, and the middle screen, you are now able to see what happened in a completely neutral way. I now want you to drift down, float down from the projection booth into that comfy chair in the cinema, and indeed you can see all three screens with you being in a good place. You're seeing yourself in the past being happy being single. You're seeing yourself in the future being either happy single or happy in a relationship. And you can see the screen in the middle where you were proposing and also feel no emotion attached to it. You're seeing it happen like it's happening to someone else. You know it happened, but it doesn't feel like it really affects you in any way, shape or form. And because of that, you can be more objective and therefore learn the very lessons that you needed to learn in order to evolve to the next chapter of your life. It's now time to leave the cinema, and you do. You get up out of that comfy chair and you walk back out through the very door that you came in and find yourself back on that beach. But you feel different now. You feel that you have access to the resources where you can feel good being single. You can also look forward to a happier future now because of the lessons learned from that trauma that you experienced. As you walk down the beach, you have a lightness in your step. You feel that you are vibrating with positive white light inside you. As you breathe in a feeling of relaxation, you breathe out any tension, any stress, any anxiety. And as you walk down the beach, you notice that up in the distance, there is someone that looks exactly like you, still counting clouds in the sky. The logical and analytical part has been distracted all this time, but it is now essential that you reconnect with that. But I want you to notice that the logical, analytical part all this time was holding bags. And all I want you to do is climb inside that logical, analytical part, and I want you to put the bags down. Leave the bags in your past, and really notice that those bags feel heavy, that you've been carrying them around for a few weeks now, and you're tired, and these bags are simply holding you back. These bags now belong to someone else, and you feel yourself putting those bags down, and you feel lighter, free. You feel like those bags don't belong to you anymore. And as you put the bags down and fully integrate with the logical, analytical part, it's now time to reconnect with the conscious. And as you walk down the beach, you do indeed see a version of you completely asleep on the beach. And I want you to climb inside that body. And as you climb inside that body, I want you to realize that that body has the ability to now move forward. That actually, that body was stuck in one place. But now that you think about things differently, you're able to move forward. And as you climb inside that body, I want you to feel yourself feeling relaxed lying on the beach, that now the part that wanted change, the logical and analytical part, and your conscious mind are all as one, fully integrated. And I want you to imagine that you're getting up out from lying on the beach, looking out over the ocean with a genuine sense that you're looking forward to a future that actually, even if this thing was in the past traumatic, it was actually a important thing that needed to happen in order for you to move forward. And move forward you do. In a few moments' time, I'm going to count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken with all parts fully integrated, awakening in the moment, with all normal sensations returning to your arms and legs, and you will awaken fully, completely, wide awake. You will retain the positive, relaxing, resourceful feelings inside you, and you will leave anxiety and regret in the past. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.